I, 23M, have been dating my girlfriend Sarah, 21F, for about a year. Things have been really good between us and I care about her a lot. Last night, Sarah called me crying saying her stepmom had kicked her out of the house with nowhere to go. Her stepmom is a real piece of work and has always hated Sarah. Sarah's dad is kind of a spineless person and didn't stand up for her. I live in a 4-bedroom apartment with 3 other guys, Mike, Chris, and Tony. We are all friends from college and split the rent and bills 4 ways. With 4 of us, space and money is pretty tight. When Sarah called me crying and homeless, I didn't even think twice about saying she could come stay with me for one night to have a roof over her head and figure things out. The guys weren't too thrilled when I sprung it on them last minute, but they reluctantly went along with it for one night. Sarah came over with just a backpack of clothes and essentials. She was so grateful to have a place to sleep. In the morning though, the tension was obvious. Mike passive-aggressively asked how long Sarah would be staying with us while washing dishes way too loudly. Chris avoided eye contact, but I could tell he wasn't comfortable with the situation either. Tony was the only one who didn't give me crap about it, but didn't offer for Sarah to stay long-term either. I pulled Sarah aside and regretfully told her she couldn't stay another night. I felt awful doing it since she literally has nowhere else to go. But I can't just let her move in without my roommates being okay with it, and it was clear none of them wanted a long-term guest, let alone having her move in permanently. Sarah started crying loudly and saying she has no friends or family in the area to stay with. She doesn't have money for a motel. I suggested she go to a women's shelter just temporarily until she can get on her feet and find a job and her own place. But she is terrified to go to a shelter. I really wanted to let her stay longer, but I can't risk messing things up with my living situation and friends I'm locked into a lease with. So, Sarah gathered her stuff and left, still crying. I feel like a terrible boyfriend putting her out on the street when she is struggling. But I also shouldn't force my roommates to let her just move in without their permission. So Reddit, Ida here? I care about Sarah so much, but my hands were tied with the roommate situation. Did I do the right thing, or should I have tried harder to let her stay and deal with the anger from my roommates? I'm so torn here. Update number 1. After kicking my homeless girlfriend Sarah out of my apartment due to my roommates not being okay with her staying, I felt like a huge jerk. She was crying her eyes out with nowhere to go. I knew I had to try to help her more. I suggested we go look for a women's shelter nearby that she could stay at temporarily until getting back on her feet. Sarah was terrified of shelters but agreed it was better than living on the streets. We spent the whole day going from shelter to shelter. It was an absolute nightmare. Every single one we went to was either full for the night already, or had a sketchy or unsafe vibe to it that scared Sarah even more than being homeless. One shelter seemed okay from the outside, but when we went inside, it reeked of cigarette smoke and a couple sketchy-looking dudes were creepily staring at Sarah. She squeezed my hand tightly and shook her head no for staying there. I didn't blame her one bit. By early evening, we were absolutely exhausted, both physically and mentally. We had struck out at 8 different shelters. A couple were truly terrifying places I wouldn't let any woman stay, homeless or not. Sarah was feeling hopeless and kept apologizing for being a burden on me. I kept assuring her she wasn't a burden at all, I just felt awful I couldn't offer her a place to stay with my roommate situation. We stopped at a park to catch our breath. That's when I saw someone approaching us. It was my Uncle Marcus. He is my dad's younger brother and has always been an awesome, kind, generous guy. Uncle Marcus made a beeline right for us. "Ricky, what are you doing in this park at this hour? And who is this lovely young lady?" he asked with a warm smile. I gave Uncle Marcus a hug and explained the situation with Sarah, that her stepmom had kicked her out, she had nowhere to go, and we had spent all day fruitlessly looking for a shelter she could stay at without feeling unsafe. Uncle Marcus's face turned serious as I recapped the terrible day. "Oh son, you should have called me," Uncle Marcus said, shaking his head. He turned to Sarah sympathetically, "A kind, beautiful young woman like you doesn't deserve to be mistreated like this or sleep on the streets." Sarah just nodded with tears in her eyes. Uncle Marcus could always make anyone feel cared about. He is that kind of guy. "Now, I may have a solution here," Uncle Marcus said. "You know, after your Aunt Marjorie passed last year, God rest her soul, I have been a little rattled all alone in that big house of ours. I have a spare bedroom and bathroom that's barely been used since the kids moved out." I could see where he was going with this and my eyes widened. Uncle Marcus smiled and kept talking. "So why doesn't this young lady just come stay at my house for a little while?" he offered. Sarah's mouth fell open in shock. She finally found her voice. "Oh sir, thank you so much, but I couldn't impose." "Nonsense." Uncle Marcus cut her off. "It will be great to have a little company again. As long as you crazy kids don't mind an old man's jokes every now and then." He laughed heartily. "What do you say? No beautiful young lady should be homeless." Tears of relief filled Sarah's eyes. She looked at me and I nodded enthusiastically, giving my thumbs up. This was perfect. "I don't know how I will ever repay you," Sarah said, crying happily. Uncle Marcus waved his hand dismissively. "No need to repay me, sweetie. Just don't give this knucklehead nephew of mine too hard a time, eh?" He winked at me. "Come on now, bring your bag. My house is just a couple blocks over." I gave Uncle Marcus a big hug, overwhelmed with gratitude for him swooping in to help Sarah. What were the odds of randomly running into him here? But that is just how giving he has always been. On the walk to Uncle Marcus's house, Sarah looped her arm through mine and leaned her head on my shoulder. "I can't believe how blessed I am for you to have such an amazing uncle," she said softly. "Maybe there is a little good luck finally coming my way after all." I kissed the top of her head, just feeling so relieved that she would have a safe, comfortable place to stay because of Uncle Marcus's kindness. She wouldn't be on the streets or stuck in a sketchy shelter. I knew with Uncle Marcus looking out for her, everything would be okay. When we arrived at his house, Uncle Marcus got the spare room ready with fresh sheets, towels, and even put out some little snacks and toiletries for Sarah. He really did think of everything. "There is no TV in that room, but you can watch whatever you want in the living room when I am not hogging the good shows," Uncle Marcus joked. Sarah couldn't stop, thanking him, giving him a big hug. I pulled Uncle Marcus aside and thanked him profusely too, telling him I didn't know what I would have done if he didn't help out. He just shook his head humbly. "We have to look out for each other, Ricky. I am just doing what I would want someone to do if it was my kid without a roof over their head. You be good to this girl and don't be a knucklehead, you hear?" I assured him I would be a gentleman and that she was in great hands with him. As Sarah and I headed to the spare room, Uncle Marcus called out. "But not too good a gentleman if you know what I mean," he roared with laughter at his own joke. "Yep, that's Uncle Marcus for you." As I gave Sarah a hug goodnight, she was beaming with relief and gratitude. "You have no idea how much this means to me. How much your uncle's kindness means," she said, eyes shining with happy tears. "After the nightmare of being homeless in those awful shelters, I have never felt so lucky." I assured her she deserved for things to finally go her way after the nightmare she had been through. I felt like a weight had been lifted too, knowing she had a safe place all thanks to Uncle Marcus. "Get some rest, babe. Maybe tomorrow will be a new, better day," I told her, kissing her forehead. Update number 3. It's been over a month since my Uncle Marcus generously took my girlfriend Sarah in after her stepmom kicked her out and made her homeless. At first, everything seemed to be going really well with the living arrangement. Sarah was so relieved and grateful to have a safe, comfortable place to stay instead of being on the streets or stuck in a sketchy shelter. Those first couple weeks, her mood was the brightest I had seen in a long time despite her crappy situation. She would come over to my apartment a few times a week, giving me big hugs and smiling from ear to ear. Sarah couldn't stop gushing about how amazing and kind Uncle Marcus was being. How he went out of his way to make her feel at home, cooked her delicious meals, and never made her feel like a burden at all. My uncle has always been one of the most selfless, giving people I know, so it made me really happy to see him and Sarah hit it off so well. I knew he would take good care of her. And it was a huge relief for me too, after that first night of having to turn her away from my apartment due to roommate issues. The first few weeks, Sarah would update me on how she was job hunting and applying for places, plotting how to get back on her feet financially. She is incredibly smart and hardworking when she sets her mind to something. With Uncle Marcus's place as a safe landing spot, I knew it was just a matter of time until Sarah landed on her feet again. But then, things started feeling a little off. Nothing too crazy at first, but little things I noticed that seemed unusual about Sarah's behavior and attitude. She stopped coming over to my place as frequently, claiming she didn't want to be a bother to me and my roommates. Which was weird, since we had all said she was welcome to hang out as long as she wasn't sleeping over. When Sarah did come over, she was, I don't know, almost paranoid acting? She would flinch if one of my roommates walked by, or shush me if I said something in a normal voice around them like I would spill some big secret. More than once, I caught her looking over her shoulder suspiciously at my friends for no reason at all. Sarah also began blowing off or rescheduling our plans a lot more often. She had a million excuses why she couldn't grab dinner or see a movie, anything that involved leaving Uncle Marcus's house for too long. Her reasons never made much sense and seemed shifting every time. Oh, I have just got so much homework from my online classes this week, babe. Let's do something next week? I am just so worn out from all my job applications today, can I take a rain check? Over time, the excuses stopped even making sense. More like she just didn't want to actually leave the house or be around anyone else besides Uncle Marcus. I finally called her on it one day. Sarah, what's up with you lately? You have been acting kind of paranoid. Like you don't even want to spend time with me anymore unless it is at my uncle's place. Is something going on? She looked almost panicked for a moment, like I had called out some secret. But then Sarah laughed it off in a way that seemed too forced. Don't be silly. I've just got a lot on my plate trying to get a job lined up, that's all. School stuff too, you know how it is. But I could tell she was lying through her teeth. Sarah has never been one to be interested in online classes or anything unless forced to. I decided to drop it, not trying to start a fight. Maybe she just really was that stressed looking for work? Over the next few weeks though, Sarah's odd behavior continued and then some. She was staying home with Uncle Marcus pretty much 24/7 at this point. I dropped by unannounced a few times, wanting to surprise her. But she didn't really seem fazed or happy to see me out of the blue. I would find them laughing and joking over some movie, or he would be cooking for her in the kitchen and she would look cozy on the couch under a blanket. Acting kind of couple-ish, honestly. But I tried not to read too much into it, not wanting to be that guy. The thing that really weirded me out though was how secretive Sarah became anytime I asked what she had been up to all day. She would freeze up and quickly change the subject or say she was studying in a way that seemed rehearsed. If she ever left her phone unattended and I saw any notifications pop up, Sarah would scramble to check them almost frantic, clearing everything before I could even glance. And get this, a few times I caught Sarah in the most random parts of Uncle Marcus's house when she thought no one else was around. Like curled up reading in a hallway nook upstairs. Or sitting on the closed toilet lid in the upstairs bathroom on her laptop like she lived in there. Just bizarre stuff that didn't make sense. By far the weirdest was when I went to use the downstairs half bath and heard hushed noises before I opened the door. I cracked it and Sarah immediately yelped, "Don't come in," and slammed the door on me before I could even react. What the hell was she doing in there? Sorry if this is too much detail, but part of me wonders if she was doing, I don't know, drugs or something in there? And that's why she had become so sketchy, distant and glued to my uncle's place? I have no idea and don't want to accuse her without evidence. Sarah doesn't have a history of anything like that. I kept making excuses for her increasingly bizarre behavior for a while. Trying to rationalize it as maybe just being still really shaken up from her stepmom situation. Maybe she felt like a burden still despite my uncle's kindness and that made her pull away. Or she was just having a depressive episode making her isolate and push me away. We all go through periods like that, right? But then she became straight up avoidant of me altogether. We used to talk or text every single day, no matter what. And over these past few weeks, almost nothing. I am lucky if I get a few texts back a day, and no real conversation. Just enough to be like, yeah, I am still alive, leave me alone. When I tried calling her out gently again on how distant and weird she was being, Sarah blew up at me. Saying I was being paranoid and controlling and that she was under a lot of pressure that I couldn't relate to. She said if I actually trusted her then I wouldn't be questioning her so much about what she does all day. That one really stung, not gonna lie. I do trust Sarah, or I did before all this bizarre secrecy starting building up. And I've been giving her so much space and independence to do her thing while letting her have my uncle's awesome support. But I guess she feels pushed into a corner for some reason? I'm just really confused and concerned at this point. Reddit. My once sweet, warm, loving girlfriend seems like a completely different person these days. A person who lies, hides things, lashes out and spends pretty much every waking moment cooped up in my uncle's house. A part of me wonders if she is taking advantage of his kindness and hospitality in some way? Using the house for something shady while he's not around? Or maybe Uncle Marcus is the one doing something weird, and she feels forced to go along with it for a place to stay? He has always been such a good guy, but you never really know people. I am honestly at a loss here. Should I finally put my foot down and force some answers out of Sarah about what's going on? Or just be patient and see if this is a phase that passes? I care about her so much, but she's starting to feel like a stranger. What would you do?